Hey guys, it's Clay, CPAP My Way, cpapmyway.com. Today I'm here to discuss the AirSense 10 and the clinical adjustments and settings. So this is going to be the clinical menu where providers go in or your clinician goes in and makes setting adjustments. If you're doing it under the supervision of a doctor, make sure you check in about all this kind of stuff and don't get in here if you don't know what you're doing or have no idea what settings CPAPs control. So if you like the info, we appreciate the thumbs up. As always, subscribe for more info and comment with any questions or things that I might could expand on. Additionally, in the link below, I know I always say this, but there's a really good blog that takes you through all the rest of the information, like setup, maintenance, patient level menu. All that stuff is in one link below. So if you want to learn everything about an AirSense 10, great link below. Let's jump right in. All right, so here I'm going to show you how to get into the clinical settings portion of your CPAP machine. This is where you could adjust therapy pressures as well as some of the fine-tuned stuff, which is something that really you should only do if you're a clinician or you're under the supervision of a clinician and you know what you're doing in some way. So that is the preface. Don't mess with this if you don't know what you're doing. To get into the clinical menu, we're going to press in combination the home button here and this knob on the top. And we're going to do it at the same time and hold it for about 5 seconds. You're going to see the screen change. And now it'll say exit clinical menu, settings, and sleep report. No need to worry about sleep report. What we'll go to here is the settings. When you first enter the settings, this happens to be ResMed auto set. So you can scroll from auto set, which is auto titrating CPAP, to fixed pressure CPAP if you want. I would say 90% of people plus are probably in the auto mode. But if you're in CPAP, obviously the only thing that will change is you have a fixed set pressure that you can run up as high as 20 or as down as low as 4. Most people are in some sort of auto range now, so just for the sake of going through the menu, I'm going to change it back to auto. In the auto setting, you've got a minimum and a maximum, right? So max pressure is 20, that's as high as it can go. Min pressure is 4, that's as low as it can go, but it can be turned up. As far as these two go, keep in mind I'm not a doctor, but what I have seen a lot of doctors do is if somebody's really struggling when they get started on CPAP and they just can't handle the pressure, sometimes they'll dial this down, to a more manageable amount and increase it slowly as a person acclimates. So if you're a physician out there, I've seen a lot of other doctors really, or a clinician I should say, I've seen a lot of doctors recommend that, somebody's getting accustomed to it. And same on the minimum pressure, if somebody's got some snoring still, or if they just feel like it's not doing enough for them, you can increase the minimum pressure so that it starts off at a higher pressure. Next setting down is the mask selection. 3 options. You can go nasal pillow, which are the little nasal buds. You could go full face, which covers the mouth and nose, or you could go nasal, which just covers the nose, kind of clown nose style. Whatever you've got, select that. You can also change that in the patient level later if you change masks. Response can be soft or standard. If it's soft, it's going to adjust more slowly and comfortably for somebody. If it's standard, it's going to get the job done a little quicker. Ramp time is auto. Most people do really well with the ramp time in auto. That's also available in the patient level menu, so it's not a huge deal if you don't get it right off the rip, but most people do well in auto. You can turn it to a timer, or you could turn it all the way off if you wanted to. I think most people do well starting off in auto and can adjust it on their own if they don't like it. All right, right underneath ramp time is your start pressure. That can be anywhere below the minimum CPAP pressure, which you had set up above, remember, right? So if the minimum pressure is 8, or we increase it to 10, now our start pressure, we could actually go as high as 10. A lot of times you want your starting pressure to be half of what your minimum pressure is what I've been told by quite a few people over the years. So if our minimum pressure was 10, starting pressure should be about 5. That way it doesn't have as far to go to get up to your therapy settings. Next thing down is EPR. This is exhalation pressure relief. We got a great video on that explains it really thoroughly. I'll link that up top here. But the EPR is usually best turned on so that it can work with somebody. But if it's an old school CPAP user that just wants steady pressure, I would turn it off. If you turn it on, you're going to get another setting, or 2 settings here. EPR type full-time or ramp only. I think most of the time you're going to be in full-time unless this is a really high-risk person or something that you don't want EPR to come on, or they don't like it while the pressures go up. Most people put it in full time. And then the EPR can go as low as 1 or as high as 3. If you want more relief, you turn it up. If you want less relief, you turn it down. Again, that video I linked earlier is a really good deal. Humidity level is another patient driven thing, so customers can change it on their own in their patient level menu, but most of the time starting at around 4 is a good place to be. Tube type, slimline or standard. Almost everybody comes with a 15 millimeter slimline, but every now and then you get somebody that uses an old school thick 22 millimeter tube, but 95% of the time it's going to be a slimline. If you have a climate line, it's going to adjust the setting on its own. Antibacteria filter is those big discs that they use kind of in the hospitals that catch all the fine particulates. If you got one of those in line, you're going to want to turn that on. 99% chance you don't have one of those, so leave it off. And then the options here, I really like to turn the plus on for people. It comes rigged typically with just the essentials on. I like to turn on plus so that people can see more in their next day report when they first turn the machine off. Smart Start will allow the machine to turn on by itself when they put the mask on. You can turn that off or on. Most people like that being on because you put the mask on and start breathing and it'll kick right on. Reminders are just to tell people like, hey, get an alert every so often, whatever, and recur it every so often to change out your mask. I don't know how useful that is, but if you're a provider out there and you want to remind people to change their supplies, this is a good way to trigger that. Then obviously down below you got your English language, French, Spanish, or Portuguese, dates, really simple, and then time, very simple to adjust as well. Pressure units, almost everybody uses centimeters. Temperature, most everybody uses Fahrenheit unless you're overseas, right? Change it to Celsius. Restore defaults would change all the settings back to out of the box. And erase data would be like if you took this back from somebody else and you wanted to put it out on a new customer, or if you're a person that found this at a yard sale or something, you would erase all the data so that it would start fresh from the very beginning. And then obviously this just tells you about your machine. At any point, if you're in here and you're like, oh, I need to get out, just press the home button here and it'll take you back out where you can scroll up and exit the clinical menu. Super simple. If you found the info helpful, hit us with that thumbs up, comment with any questions or things I can expand on, and subscribe for more info. Thanks for watching.